Welcome back to How to Be and Do. Today, we're tackling a subject that touches so many lives: emotional trauma. Whether you've experienced a painful event in your past or are still dealing with lingering emotional wounds, this video will guide you through the process of healing from emotional trauma and regaining control over your mental and emotional well-being. Healing isn't about forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't hurt, it's about finding peace and moving forward. In today's video, we'll explore the steps you can take to heal and offer insights that can help you reclaim your life after trauma. And be sure to stay until the end, where I'll tell you about our next video, Understanding Addiction and Recovery, which takes this journey one step further. Emotional trauma is a deep psychological wound caused by a distressing experience, whether it's a single event or a series of painful experiences. Trauma can stem from abuse, the loss of a loved one, betrayal, a life-threatening event, or even ongoing emotional neglect. Trauma isn't always visible on the outside, but it profoundly affects how you think, feel, and behave. You may notice signs like 1. Flashbacks or recurring memories of the painful event. 2. Feelings of anxiety, depression, or anger. 3. Difficulty trusting others or forming healthy relationships. 4. Physical symptoms like headaches, fatigue, or digestive issues. 5. Avoidance of situations that remind you of the trauma. If you've experienced emotional trauma, you know how isolating and overwhelming it can feel. But healing is possible, and with the right tools and support, you can rebuild your emotional health and well-being. When emotional trauma goes unaddressed, it can keep us stuck in a cycle of pain, fear, and disconnection. Healing allows you to regain control over your life, to live fully in the present without being held back by the past. Healing doesn't mean the trauma disappears, but it means you're no longer controlled by it. It allows you to 1. Build healthier relationships. 2. Reduce anxiety and depression. 3. Restore a sense of inner peace. 4. Feel more emotionally resilient and empowered. The good news is that healing is a journey you don't have to take alone. With the right steps, you can move from pain to peace and start living a fuller, happier life. Let me share a story with you about David. He grew up in a household where emotional abuse was common. His father's anger and constant criticism left deep scars on David's self-esteem. For years, he struggled with feelings of worthlessness and anger, even after moving out of his toxic environment. Eventually, David realized that carrying the weight of his trauma was affecting every area of his life, from his relationships to his career. He decided to seek therapy, practice mindfulness, and surround himself with supportive people. Over time, David noticed a shift. He started to forgive himself for the things he couldn't control and learned to express his emotions in healthier ways. David's journey wasn't easy, but he now feels more confident and at peace, no longer defined by the trauma he experienced. Take a moment to think about your own experiences. Have you been carrying the weight of emotional trauma, even if it's from years ago? How is it affecting your relationships, your happiness, or even your sense of self? Grab a journal or just take a few minutes to reflect. Awareness is the first step in your healing process, and acknowledging your trauma can open the door to recovery. Let's now dive into 5 actionable steps you can take to start healing from emotional trauma and reclaiming your emotional health. 1. Acknowledge your pain. Healing begins with acknowledging the pain and trauma you've experienced. It's natural to want to bury the hurt, but true healing requires you to face it. Understand that your emotions are valid, and there's no right or wrong way to feel about what happened. Try this: write down your feelings or talk to someone you trust about your experience. Naming your trauma is the first step in reclaiming power over it. 2. Seek professional help. Emotional trauma is complex, and sometimes we can't heal alone. Seeking the support of a therapist, counselor, or trauma specialist can provide you with a safe space to process your emotions and guide you through the healing journey. If therapy isn't accessible to you right now, consider online support groups or trauma recovery books to help you understand and process your feelings. 3. Practice self-compassion. Trauma often leaves us feeling ashamed, guilty, or unworthy. Practicing self-compassion means treating yourself with kindness and understanding, just as you would a close friend. Recognize that healing is a process, and it's okay to take it one day at a time. Next time you feel overwhelmed by your emotions, pause and remind yourself that it's okay to feel the way you do. Healing takes time, and there's no rush. 4. Build healthy boundaries. One of the hardest parts of healing is learning to protect yourself from situations or people who trigger your trauma. Building healthy boundaries is essential for emotional recovery. This might mean limiting contact with toxic individuals, saying no to situations that feel harmful, or even taking time to be alone when you need it. Reflect on where you need stronger boundaries in your life. Start with small, manageable changes, and notice how they help you feel more in control. 5. Engage in healing practices. Healing practices like mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or even yoga can help you reconnect with your body and emotions. These practices allow you to process your feelings in a safe, non-judgmental space and can promote inner peace. Try incorporating 10 minutes of mindfulness or journaling into your daily routine. You might be surprised at how much lighter and more grounded you feel after making time for self-reflection. Now, I have a challenge for you. Over the next 7 days, commit to one of the healing steps we discussed. Whether it's practicing self-compassion, setting boundaries, or seeking professional support, take one small step toward healing your emotional trauma. At the end of the week, reflect on how these practices made you feel. Did you notice any shifts in your emotional state or your ability to cope with painful memories? Share your experience in the comments or write it down in your journal. Here are a few quotes to inspire you on your journey to healing. Trauma creates change you don't choose. Healing is about creating change you do choose. Michelle Rosenthal. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. Healing takes courage, and we all have courage, even if we have to dig a little to find it. Tori Amos. Healing from emotional trauma isn't easy, but it's one of the most powerful journeys you can take. Remember, you don't have to do it alone. Acknowledge your pain, seek support, and practice self-compassion as you work through your healing process. Let us know in the comments which step resonated with you the most, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on personal growth and emotional well-being. In our next video, we'll be exploring understanding addiction and recovery. Whether you or someone you know has struggled with addiction, this video will dive deep into the psychology behind addiction and the steps involved in recovery. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it.